Hello, everyone. Welcome to Pianolin TV. My name is Alex.
I'm Jeremy.
And this is our 6th episode. We're going to be focusing on opportunities. Now, being in the United States of America, being born here, I have been exposed to so many opportunities in the US, not only for music, but as life opportunities. And Jeremy is also, right, Jeremy?
Right, that's right.
And Carlos here, we'll let him speak in a moment. Carlos is a wonderful friend of mine. We actually met in high school around 2011, 2012. So it's been about more than 9-10 years. So we've been good friends, even though it's really long distance. We haven't seen each other as much ever since we left high school, but he is a great, great classical guitarist. And I'm so fortunate to be able to see him grow as a musician. Carlos is currently a master's student at Schwob School of Music in Georgia. He's doing his master's in classical guitar. He graduated from Rowan University in New Jersey, the Bachelor of Music, and he has been accepted and is going to pursue his Doctor of Musical Arts in classical guitar at Indiana University. Welcome, Carlos.
Thank you so much, Alex and Jeremy, for having me here. It's really a pleasure and an honor to be talking to you.
So Carlos, where were you born and raised?
I was born in Medellin, Colombia, in South America. And then I came to the United States in 2009. So I've been here about 11 years.
And how has life changed for you since you moved here?
It changed drastically because I wasn't really... I didn't think I was going to become a professional musician. I was thinking I would just continue the natural path and just work, like not go to college. And then I came to the United States and realized that there is an opportunity to get a degree. And then not only like get a degree, but in something that I like music. So this opportunity to be able to study music and be able to make a living with it, like it just changed my life because I didn't know it was possible.
Wow. And what makes it different from, the country that you were born and raised in compared to the US?
So in Colombia, I honestly, like I said before, I didn't think about it. I didn't think, I'm going to become a music major. In Colombia, I was in fact doing computer engineering program in high school, where like you spend like 4 hours a day on the side besides high school classes, learning about computer engineering. And that was what I was thinking I was going to do. Okay, I'm going to finish like my high school and I'm going to become a computer engineer. Even though that wasn't really my passion. And I was playing guitar on the side. So in Colombia, I guess because of the situation, most of the country, it's not a country that is as rich as the United States. So you don't, when I was in Colombia, I didn't see it as a viable option to become a musician. I just thought I need to work and I'll continue doing music as a hobby. And then I came to the United States and I went to high school and I saw that in high school, there is actual teachers who make a living teaching music. And that just blew my mind because in Colombia, we didn't have music. In my high school, we didn't have music. So I saw that I went to Ex-Aequo Township High School where I met Alex actually. And I saw, there is a choir director who teaches piano. There's a choir director who teaches theory. There's a piano teacher who just teaches piano all day long. And there is a band director who teaches band all day long. So I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I wanna do this. So yeah, so the opportunity from being born in Colombia and then coming to the United States, it just changed my life.
Well, that's a very rich experience that you described, and I would never imagine because I'm born in the States, so I don't know how life has been outside the U.S. And how the education system is drastically different.
Yes, yes. And
Jeremy,
then
Jeremy,
go
you've
ahead.
also you were not born in the States, right?
Yes, but I came here very young, so I never really experienced only the basic music training I had there, and then most of the advanced music training I had here.
Mhm.
Right. And Carlos, we are very fortunate to have you here because I've actually have been following you since we graduated from Egg Harbor Township.
Same.
And
I've been following you too.
but it's so great because not only as a friend, but as a musician, we connect very well.
Yes.
And being a musician, to collaborate with another musician, which we did collaborate, requires great chemistry. It's a great relationship. And
Yes.
you and I have to feel the music together. I've also collaborated with Jeremy. We also have great chemistry together. It's not often easy to find musicians to have the same persona, the same chemistry, the same thoughts and ideas to be able to collaborate. I'm sure both of you have experienced musicians whom ideas are drastically different and it may be difficult to collaborate.
Yes. And if I may tell a little story and relating to the topic of opportunities. So I was very lucky to play with Alex, like he mentioned. Like I was learning. There was a concerto competition in Ocean City, and we were in high school, and I didn't know. Like I didn't know there was a concerto for guitar. I had just started learning classical guitar, and everything was completely new to me. And I remember that I was gonna compete in a concerto competition with a Bach lute suite because I was new to all these things. And then I got an email back from the director of the competition, Maestro Schwob. He said, "I'm sorry, Carlos, but you have to perform a concerto." And he said, "Why don't you try performing this?" And he sent me Concerto de Aranjuez. And it's this, the whole piece is like 30 minutes, but I only had to do 2 weeks to learn this movement. And I remember that's when I met Alex more specifically, because I will be practicing inside of the band room, and Alex every now and then will come and listen to me, and then, oh man, this is so good. And we'll play for each other, and it was kind of nice. So because of this opportunity that I took, I was able to meet Alex, who honestly has inspired me. Like Alex back then, as a high school student, I know for a fact that he was working countless hours a day, like besides his coursework, like maintaining super high GPA. Alex kept practicing every day, and then whenever I would hear him playing in piano class, it would just blow my mind, and it's just really inspiring. And then thanks to this competition, I was able to learn the piece. I was surprised. I learned it in like 2 weeks. I was super happy, and then I was very fortunate that I got fourth place, because I didn't even plan on doing this, and 2 weeks in advance I did it, and I won a prize. And Alex won the first prize. He sweeps the competition. But that was an amazing experience, and then more to follow up. I think I'll tell you more about it as the conversation goes, because I did that competition. There was a streamroll of opportunities that arrived from that.
Wow, that's great. Jeremy, what do you think about this?
Well, it's great. I think as you do all these opportunities, you get a different view of you get the experience of new things that you didn't know before, and that really expands to your learning and even your performance experience later on. And I feel I didn't do that many competitions when I was young, but actually the first one I did was the pre-college competition at the Manus pre-college, and after doing that, it opened up I got to play with the orchestra, and then that opened
nice.
up a new whole view for me.
Yeah, following the same thing, like one of the first opportunities that came to me after playing in that competition was that even though I didn't win, Mr. Schwob liked my playing very much, and he invited me to play a year later with the orchestra. And then after I played in that, I played the piece with the orchestra, the Ocean City Orchestra, which I'm really thankful to Maestro Schwob. If he were to hear this, I'm very thankful to him. He liked my playing so much that he said, I'm willing to pay lessons for you with this guitarist from Curtis. And I was just, oh my God, like, this is incredible. Like, he paid me lessons with guitarist Jordan Dodson, who was the first classical guitarist to study in Curtis, because the program had just been created. And then I started, and just my playing skyrocketed when I started working under him. And it's all thanks to Maestro Schwob, because he was so generous that not only he took an interest in me, but he paid the lessons for me. Like, it's just, I'm super thankful for that. Yeah.
Wow, that's great, Carlos. And you know, speaking of opportunities, that really goes into the subject of networking, right?
Yes.
To be a musician, you cannot just practice your art and then that's it. You know, you can't expect to go anywhere with that.
And I think like in Carlos's experience, sometimes just that one person that you just happen to meet, it just changes your path, and you never know when that happens.
Yeah,
it's like a domino effect. One thing falls after the other one.
And this was crazy, because it doesn't stop there. Mr. Schwob is, like, I think, like Jeremy said, is that person who is the turning point, because of course I started taking lessons with Jordan Dodson, amazing guitarist, American guitarist. And like Alex just said, the importance of networking. I didn't stop there. I knew he was studying with one of the most amazing guitarists in the world, who is the teacher at Curtis. His name is Jason Vieaux. And one day after studying with Jordan, I just like threw myself out there and I say, "Oh, do you think is there any chance that I could possibly get a lesson with him?" And guess what? You know, like the teacher at Curtis, like, getting a request from this high school student who's been playing classical guitar for like a year, I immediately assumed, you know, he's gonna say no. He's very busy, and he took me in. So I had the amazing opportunity of being able to study with the teacher Curtis for 4 years after that, privately. Of course, I wasn't part of the institution, but I was studying privately with him, and just the opportunity to have been able in the first place to meet him, it was just incredible. And I grew a lot exponentially, musically and technically, thanks to him. Jason Vieaux, I'm really thankful.
Wow, that's great. And Carlos, how would you describe or help those who are listening right now, those who are, you know, maybe thinking about music in their career, or they already are in the music career, but they find difficulty having those opportunities like you?
Okay, so I think the most important thing is to be open to, well, I don't want to say again opportunities, but the word is opportunities. Be open to anything that comes your way. So if your teacher, let's say that you already are taking lessons, and let's say your teacher tells you, okay, there is this opportunity to play at this fundraising event. Unfortunately, there is no pay for you, but the folks there are really nice, and so. Play in anything that comes your way. Fundraisers, maybe any kind of community event. Put yourself out there, like play, say yes to as many things as you can, of course, within your limits and staying within your limits of mental health. Say yes to many things. Volunteering is really important. I volunteer after that many times with fundraisers for the Ocean City Orchestra, for Maestro Schwob. And thanks to some of those opportunities, there was one day where I met Mr. Scott Briner, who's an organist in Summers Point. And I was lucky that, you know, I was playing the fundraiser for free. I was just volunteering, and Mr. Briner invited me to play as a paid in a paid event in his church. So you never know what can come your way from just volunteering and the people that you can meet. So my most important advice is to try to accept the things that come your way and do as much as you can, as much as possible.
I feel, yeah, he has a really good point. And right now at this point, I don't do many free volunteer events, but I used to do a lot of free events. And even if I have to travel far, and then even then I would think maybe, oh, I have to go so far, but there's no payment. But sometimes through that event, you could get other jobs, and you never
Yes.
know what that can connect to. So I think Carlos has a really good point.
And there is something that I would like to clarify, because I know that in the gig community, there is this movement that's saying that, oh, don't take free gigs. And I think it's different for me as a student. Like, I think there is a line that separates a professional musician from a student like me. Like right now, I'm very fortunate that I don't need to, I'm living basically off the scholarship and of a loan, to a point where I'm not really like starving. So I'm really fortunate to the point that I'm able to do free things. But from the standpoint of someone who's a professional already, like out in the world, like making a living out of this, I can understand why they wouldn't want to take free gigs. But I think I'm talking from the standpoint of a student who, like, all I have to do right now is study and grow myself as a musician, and I would take as many opportunities as I can, even if they're not paid. So that's my standpoint as a student, I think.
Right, that's wonderful. Both points from Jeremy and Carlos. I myself, when I was younger, 10 years ago, even I'm still young now, but some people think I'm still in high school. But it is true that as you're embarking your journey as a musician, you're in a learning process. As a student, you always want to learn new things. And not only that, but the experiences you encounter, like Carlos had, he took those opportunities without knowing what's going to come. And you never know, just because things are free or you're volunteering your talent. And I know that there's this term, getting paid for exposure. That is true to a certain extent. And you have to know what you're getting yourself into, right? So when you're doing these sort of gigs, you want to see, okay, what am I playing for? Is this to fundraise or something? Now, when you're playing for a fundraiser, you're actually doing something good for the community. If they're fundraising for the arts or they're fundraising for the school education, that's a wonderful thing. You're contributing to society, for the younger generation to be able to learn music. And I myself, I feel good when I do that. I did that several times when I was in high school, and it's just a wonderful feeling. And all the people that I met, it sometimes money doesn't mean much as compared to meeting the people that may influence your life for a very, very long time. But there's also other gigs that they may not benefit to anything.
Yes.
And that's you have to put that into consideration. If they're just asking you because they're low budget and they're too cheap to pay. I mean, if you research the company and they do have a very good foundation and financial support, but they choose not to pay the musician, that's one story that you don't want to contribute to.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you brought that up. Like I didn't mean to say that. I think there is a clear difference between a volunteer opportunity and a gig, like an actual gig. Like I think if it's a gig, like a playing a wedding or playing a musical, I think you should definitely be compensated for your time. But yeah, what I meant mostly about the opportunities is like volunteering events for like community things that like Alex said, that are gonna further some agenda, cultural or musical agenda, or something that is good for the community. Yes, I agree wholeheartedly with that.
Right. And, as we go in that path of networking, there's a lot more you can do via social media. And Carlos you've entered the social media not too long ago.
Yeah.
And I was very surprised because when we last saw each other, which were a few years ago, you weren't into that social media buzz.
Yeah. I changed, you could say, drastically, because when I was still in high school, I was a person who didn't not even like taking pictures. Like, I didn't like people taking pictures of me. And then now, I entered the social media because I realized the benefits that they can bring to my career. And not only because of that, I actually came to enjoy it now. I just created an Instagram account like 4 months ago. I'm starting to upload videos to YouTube to kind of like help people who might need it. I think my main goal with that is I see a lot of material that is not great on YouTube. And I'm not saying my material is great, but I think with my diplomas, I think I have some authority to teach some guitar stuff a little bit of a higher level. So my goal with that is to don't have the access, like in Colombia, who don't have the access to quality instruction because of money or any other kind of circumstances. So yeah, I think social media can be really important to further culturally or musically the community around you, but also can help you improve your career and give you opportunities as well.
Wow, great. Jeremy, you have anything to add to that?
I think that's all for me.
Wow, Carlos, you're just covering the ground basics of everything. We went from the subject is opportunities, right? We went to networking, and then we go to social media. What else do you have to add, Carlos?
So I think I would like to finish like this domino effect like happened when I met Mr. Scheibel, the orchestra conductor at Ocean City back then. So I started studying with Jason Vieaux, who is in Cleveland. And it came the time in my career when I had to apply for college finally. And I'm sorry, for my master's. It came the time in my career after studying for 4 years with Jason privately. It came the time when I needed to apply for college for my master's. And of course, I was studying with Jason, so I wanted to apply to Curtis. But having studied with Jason, I was already in a point in our relationship where he can be very honest with me, and he told me, "Well, Carlos, unfortunately, at your level right now, we wouldn't be able to accept you into the program." And that's fine, because I was still developing. I'm still developing right now, but I had only been playing classical for 5 years. But he told me, however, I can recommend whom I think is one of the best teachers of classical guitar in the United States, and he lives in the town of Columbus, Georgia, and his name is Dr. Andrew Zohn. And he was very nice. Jason was very nice to write me a letter of recommendation. He spoke very highly of me, which I'm very thankful. And thanks to that influence, I was able to obtain a full scholarship to study with the professor I'm currently studying with, Dr. Andrew Zohn. And I'm extremely thankful, because if it wasn't for him, for meeting Jason, I wouldn't be here studying on a full ride scholarship, which in Colombia, I would have never thought that I would have an opportunity to study for free, something that I love. So because I studied with Jason, now I met Dr. Andrew Zohn, which has changed my life drastically. Like, I'm really thankful to Dr. Zohn now. By the way, I apologize. I recently had wisdom teeth extraction, so sometimes I have a little bit of trouble speaking.
Oh, that's totally fine. And
yeah,
sometimes you also you span out. I think it may be your internet connection, but I'm sure our viewers will forgive you for that because you have given so invaluable insight, and I think even myself and Jeremy have learned a lot from having you on this podcast. And one last thing about scholarships. Those are really important, especially being a musician and striving to be a musician. It's a lot of money on the line.
Yes.
The quality of the education is very high, and I can tell you a lot of the music conservatories and the universities, tuitions keeps going higher and higher every year.
Yeah.
And you're able to find opportunities. Not only you are able to find great teachers that inspire you to do better, but you've also managed to really get scholarships and not really have to pay as much. So that puts you on a very high level of no stress, because now you don't have to worry about your financials. You worry about making music.
And I think that's a result, well, a result of many different things, of course, and hard work and networking. But following on our topic, I think the fact that you're able to fill up your CV or your resume with all these different things that you have done, show your professors, your potential professors, that you're a person who's involved and who's, you know, really taking music seriously. I can say that as a comment that I got from my current professor, Dr. Andrew Zohn, that he said that one of the most attractive things that he found in my resume was that I have no gaps in my years. Like, I always show that I have done something, even if it's something volunteering. So he said that he could tell that I'm a person who's involved and who is willing to do the hard work. And that's one of the reasons he hired me, quote unquote, as a GA, as his graduate assistant. So yeah, your CV is all the resume of everything that you do. And the more you do, I think the more appealing you're gonna be to these future professors. And I think that's one of the reasons why I was very fortunate to receive these scholarships. And I'm really
Carlos, you're gonna be a star. I can already see it. A future classical guitarist star.
It's a hard road ahead. We'll see. I hope so.
Well, there's no way of knowing. Keep doing what you're doing, Carlos, because I'm very fortunate to know you, and especially from a musician side, I'm proud of the journey that I've seen you since 2011, 2012.
Oh, I'm so happy to have gotten to know you. You know, you're a big influence in my career as a musician.
Thank you. Jeremy has also influenced me too, even though we've met each other maybe only 2 years.
Junior?
Yeah.
Where did you guys meet, by the way?
We met at Mason Gross School of the Arts. Yeah.
Oh, nice. No, I've seen your concerts. I can tell that there is a lot of chemistry there. So that's awesome that you guys have gotten together and gotten this project going.
Great. Carlos, well, for our viewers here, I'm pretty sure many are going to look up to you. And, you know, I want to have this opportunity for you to spread your social media on this podcast. So go ahead and spill the beans.
Oh, okay. Let me, you know, I still not used to the handle thing, but yeah, I'm on Facebook and on Instagram as C Bedoya Guitar, and that's C and then Bedoya Guitar. That's how I am on Facebook and on Instagram, and I'm also on YouTube. So thank you for allowing me to do that.
Of course. Oh, we're so delighted to have guest musicians like you on our podcast, to be an inspiration.
So thankful to you guys. I'm really honored that you had me.
It's great. We're gonna have more, Carlos, and we're gonna learn from each other. You know, each musician has their own unique personality, their own unique life experience, and Jeremy and I are always learning with different guest artists. There's no stopping when you're a musician, and you just keep going higher and higher as you collaborate. Even though we're not collaborating musically right now, but our thoughts and ideas, forming them together and making them to be a well-rounded musician for all of us.
Yes.
And with that, this is the end of the episode of Opportunities. Thank you all for those who are listening on YouTube and on our podcast platforms on Apple, Google, and Spotify. If you like this podcast, if you love having the opportunity to listen to this podcast, please just like and follow either YouTube or our Google, Apple, Spotify podcast. We look forward to having more great guest artists in the future, and we'll be back next Tuesday. They will be out every Tuesday for Pianolin TV. Thank you to our listeners, and thank you for having Carlos, for us to have the opportunity to have Carlos on this podcast.
Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.